Hello again and welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today's full deck challenge day and we're going on with card number 50 and the prompt is Wonky House. Last week's card, you can see here we have mosaic. So I've got to carry something over from this card and I've also got to use my constant, which is paint swatches. So let me bring out my things and I'll show you my materials and what my plan is. Let's get set up. Okay, so I've pulled out some scrapbook paper and some paint swatches. I have pulled out some wonky houses. You can see here that they're irregular shapes and the roofs are all crooked and everything, and they're out of Paper Rose Holiday Fun paper collection. So I've just pulled some characters and some houses out of there, and you can see here that I've got a piece of paper that's got all different wonky sort of houses on it that I'm going to put on the back. I have got the Ace of Hearts left. We're down to the last 3 cards, so it's not a case of picking the card, it's whatever we've got left that's got to work. We have a lovely girl here that's dressed up in her Christmas festive outfit with a star on her beanie, and she'll be our focal point. And I've got to carry something over. So last week's card had cheesecloth on it. So I'm going to carry over some cheesecloth. And you can see I have a few paint swatches out, and I'm going to make a night sky out of the paint swatch. So let's get some watercolour happening first. Okay, I have out my Kerataki starry colours in golds. We'll wet a few of those. We'll drop a bit of mixture of golds on. I hope everyone's doing well and is getting ready for Christmas. It's very busy, isn't it? I'm busy with juggling everything at the moment. It's a bit tricky balancing work and creating and YouTube videos, and we've got my parents are arriving today because I think I've mentioned before that my parents live interstate, and so they're flying up today. Just doing a few splatters, and we might do it in the darker gold as well. So yes, my parents are flying up today and they're quite elderly, so that's a little bit tricky. Oh yes, that looks good. We've been getting the house all ready for visitors. My son's coming from interstate. He's arriving as well, which is lovely to have people coming home for Christmas. Okay, we have a little bit of watercolour down, and I just wanted to put some different metallics down that I'm going to use as a bit of a background for my starry sky, and I'm going to punch out some holes in my night sky and look through to this piece of paper. So I'll let that dry. We'll just sit that there for the moment. Okay, so let me run through what my thoughts were. I'm going to put our wonky houses on. I'm going to have a night sky that I'm going to punch some holes in and look through to our watercoloured stars and that we've got on here. Then we're going to have a sentiment and our girl as our focal point out walking around in the night sky in front of the wonky houses. So I think the next thing to do is to cut this to size and make sure that we don't cover up our Ace of Hearts. So let's cut that down. And I have a punch here that I'm hoping that will work and punch out this Ace of Hearts, but I just need to trim this down so I can get into it. And hopefully that will punch out. These punches are very old. So there we go, we've punched out the Ace of Hearts, that's good. And now I can cover my card. Okay, so this is around about what it's going to look like. So let's punch a reasonably big circle, as if it's the moon. And then I think I'll grab my hole punch out, and we'll punch a few more holes around. Just punch a few random holes, and then some smaller ones. Okay, now we'll have a look at how that looks. Yes, that's okay. We'll glue this on. Let's glue that onto the back of our paint swatch. Yes, so I hope that everyone's having a nice weekend and getting out and maybe to Christmas markets or Christmas carols, something like that. It's a very busy time, isn't it? But it's also lovely to do things that you don't get to do any other time of the year. Okay, I'll just burnish that down and we'll cut that down. I don't really have a story for this girl. I should have a story for her, shouldn't I? We could create a story that she's gone out to the night sky during December to go to see all of the Christmas festivities. All right, let's glue that onto our card. That's our big moon. And she's looked up and been blown away by the size of the moon. We had a very large moon not so long ago. I'm not sure what kind of moon it was called. Some of you might know what it was called. And now I'm going to glue our house on, our Wonky Houses on. They look nice. Actually, let's put a few splatters on that. Just a few more splatters out of our pot. Okay, I've just splattered on a few more of that metallic gold, different colours of gold to create more sky. And I'll just dry that off. So there you go, you can see our Ace of Hearts peeking through at the back there, and I'm pretty much enclosing the card. And we'll glue our houses on. I'll just take off that white edge with some residue ink on my sponge. We've been doing some movie nights with the kids. We were on grandparent duty last night and at a movie night, and they slept over at our house, which is lovely. And I've been watching some of the old Christmas movies. We watched Elf, which is a fun one. And we started another one last night that was on, I think it was on Netflix. And I've forgotten the name of it, but we only got 20 minutes in and they started to fall asleep on the lounge. So we thought, oh, we better put them to bed. So that might have to continue on another night. But it's always fun to do that. Now, let's cover the back of the card now that we know this with some paper. And we'll stamp that with today's date, which is the 21st of December. There we go. Now we need to work out a few other things. We have some cheesecloth to bring over from our card from last week. So I want to put a little bit of that on, just on the ground area for our girl to stand on. And I need to also find a sentiment. That'll just add a little bit of texture. So I'll put a bit of glue down here for that to stick into. I'll just cut that back a little bit. I don't mind it hanging off the bottom, but I don't want it going off the sides. Okay, that's nice. It's added a little bit of texture. All right, that's lovely. That's something for her to stand on. We'll stick the back on now that the date has dried. I have so many scrapbook papers that I need to be using up. Been doing craft with my mother every Thursday for many, many years, and we use different scrapbook paper, mostly Paper Rose Studio from here in Australia. But we're not doing as big a projects as we used to, just as my parents are getting older and, it's not as easy to sit for long and do big projects. So I have lots of scrapbook paper that I need to get through. Okay, that's looking nice. I'm happy with that. And let's get our things to go on it. We need our heart, ace of hearts. We need our girl. I think she can stand here. And we might tuck our ace of hearts in somewhere. And we need a sentiment. So let's have a little look. I have pulled out Tim Holtz Ideology clippings to have a bit of a flick through. Now, I liked Under the Wide Starry Sky. I liked that. Let's pull that out. My Heart is Full. I liked that as well. Let's do those. Yes, that will be okay. Let's glue those on. We'll glue our girl on first. And our heart, ace of hearts, so that we know that we have our ace of hearts on. Tuck that in there. And our little girl that's wandering around the neighbourhood looking at all of the Christmas decorations on the houses, on the Wonky Houses, and notices the giant moon and the starry sky, and gets all of those lovely Christmas feelings, those warm, fuzzy, Christmassy feelings that we love to feel when we go out to the markets or see the Christmas lights everywhere. Okay, I'm just going to ink up those edges, and I think I'm going to do it with black soot. There we go. Let's clear the decks and I'll show you the card. Okay, let's have a look at our card. So last week's card, you can see I've got some cheesecloth on it, which we brought that over, and that's what's on the ground for our young girl to be walking on. We've got a starry sky with some watercolour in the background to create the stars. I've got my paint swatch with holes punched in it. And then we have our Wonky Houses and our Ace of Hearts punched out. And it looks a little bit wonky as well. Now the houses are from the Paper Rose Studio Holiday Fun Collection. And we've got a little girl who's out wandering the Christmas streets, looking at the lights, the Wonky Houses, and she notices the lovely big moon in the sky and the stars. And it says, "Under the wide and starry sky, my heart is full." And it's a lovely feeling going out wandering the streets, going to the Christmas markets and seeing all the Christmas lights. So that's what was my inspiration for this card. So let's add this to our family. That's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my regulars for coming back all the time, and thank you for my new subscribers. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy watching all of my videos on my channel. Leave a comment below. It's so encouraging to hear from you, and I really appreciate it. But I will see you in a few days' time, because we've got to do a few more cards before the end of the year in this challenge. But for those of you that I don't see before Christmas, have a wonderful Christmas. Hug your family and your friends, and give somebody a call that you don't talk to very often. Tell them all that you love them, and enjoy this wonderful week ahead, celebrating our Lord Jesus. All right, that's all from me today. Thanks everybody, and Bye for now.